Well, hello friends and fellow VEDSies. This is actually my first video I'm filming for this month, so first time I got to do that intro, very exciting. I am here at one of Vancouver's most famous institutions, the PNE, which runs for 2 weeks at the end of every summer and has since 1910, if you can believe it, right here at Hastings Park. Specifically, I'm in the southeast corner of the park, which is known as Playland, of course, the little amusement park. I definitely would not go so far as to call this a theme park, but it is a very fun little just amusement park with rides on concrete. Nothing particularly vloggable when it comes to rides though, because the only really interesting ones that I get really excited to ride are the coasters. And I have a personal rule that I do not film on coasters, because I just know I'm gonna throw my phone and it's gonna be a bad time for everybody. I think I'm gonna start with my favorite ride here at the fair, simply referred to as Coaster. Okay, then. I know, it's a very imaginative name. The coaster really is something special. It's been here since 1958, and roller coaster enthusiasts just love it. It's actually renowned for being a really, really fun ride. Lots of airtime, as they call it. This was my personal favorite as a kid. This was the first roller coaster I ever went on. It was every year. It would be the first thing on my mind when I got here. Oh, I get to ride the Kettle Creek Mine Coaster. It does 2 laps. I wonder if it still does 2 laps or if there's been shrinkflation. Nope, they're going up for lap 2. Some things never change. From the old coaster over to the new one. This year, this is brand new, the Thunderbolt. They've been talking about it for a couple years. It is finally open. In the past, what used to be right here behind me was the Corkscrew roller coaster. It was a pretty unremarkable looping coaster, except for the fact that it was the roller coaster of death from that Final Destination movie that one time. I remember riding it and liking it, but they tore it down a few years ago. And there were a few years where there was just nothing here, and I was a little sad that they lost a major attraction like that. But this one looks like they've put a lot into it. They have a light up tunnel. What? Cedar Falls log flume, that's new. As long as I can remember, our coaster was just called Coaster, and our log flume was just called Flume. But apparently, it has a name now, the Cedar Falls log flume. That must be new. The line doesn't look too bad, let's do it. This is like accidental theming. It's just a prop for their horror nights that is just kind of sitting here. Fun. Yes, that is a prime example of you can't mess up a log flume. It's so bare bones. You just get in your log boat, you go up a small hill and down it, and then up a big hill and down it. There was never any theming on this ride particularly. I remember this ride from since I was a kid, and I looked it up. It's actually been here since 1985. It would appear that the Hello Company last year sponsored this ride, and I guess rebranded it to the Cedar Fair log flume and did some re-theming. And by re-theming, I mean this retaining wall, I guess, and some art on this little cabin guy and that sign over there. The rest of the ride is exactly the same. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they probably did little things behind the scenes as well. Ooh, I think the next one I'm gonna ride is gonna be the Atmosphere. It is so much fun. I honestly didn't even get a chance to ride the coasters. I bought a few ride tickets earlier, but I don't even know if I'm gonna get to use them. The lineup for everything is so freaking long, y'all, but this one's one I really wanted to do. It's so much fun. I'm gonna see if I can't do it. That one's so much fun. It goes so high up and gives you a great view of so much of Vancouver. That is one of the few rides I actually got a chance to do today, even if it did take up about 100 minutes of my time. Okay, I'm gonna air a slight grievance here, a bit of a grievance with the process and how fair operations are going this year. So as seems to be happening in the entire entertainment industry, everything is inflating just a little bit when it comes to costs and such here. When I got here, there were just a couple of rides I wanted to do. It's only $15 to get in, but a ride pass is $60. It's $59 to get a ride pass to ride whatever rides you want all day. And then what they have is a $35 upcharge if you want like the line skipping pass. Now, of course, I have my opinions on line skipping passes. It just makes the lines grind to a total halt if you don't buy it. And I wanted to just go on a couple, so I didn't want to buy the $60 pass. I wanted to buy just individual little ride coupons, and they do still offer that. I lined up outside to get individual ride tickets, and I was told that they're not allowed to sell them outside, that I had to go in the park. And I waited in a second line, and I asked for someone for individual ride tickets, and they said, no, there is this one booth by the elevator, the big giant drop tower ride, where there is one single cashier who's the only person who's allowed to give away these individual ride tickets. They seem to be doing the exact bare minimum to fulfill that they are offering individual ride tickets at all. They're making it pretty deliberately difficult to get them. And the big thrill rides are 7 tickets, and the tickets are $2 each, so it's pretty much $14 per ride. But I'm gonna have unused tickets because, like I said, partially because of what I mentioned earlier with the line skipping feature that a lot of people seem to be using, it is just impossible to get on any rides. I think we might just stick with the 2 today. I'm not really sure. Moving away from the Playland side of things for a second and over into the PNE proper that just really opens up like this for the 2 to 3 weeks that the fair is running. As long as I can remember, this has been the walkway of crappy fair food. But it's like a rite of passage, right? You have to have the crappy fair food. And directly to the right of that, you have the rather unassuming livestock barns. I couldn't find an exact date for when they built these livestock barns, but it was sometime between 1929 and 1941. I think this is as good a place as any to talk about one of the more uncomfortable pieces of this fair's history and this building's history. Like I said, the fair's been running all the way since 1910. There's really nothing original here from 1910 as far as buildings go that I can find. And the fair has run pretty much every year except for during World War II. There was no fair in 1942 through 1945. It eventually reopened in 1946. This area, like the Canadian National Exhibition in Toronto, was used by the Army as a training base. And in one of the more horrific pieces of our nation's history, these buildings, among many others on site here, were used for the internment of, I don't want to get the statistic wrong, I believe it was about 3,000 Japanese Canadians. Over 8,000 were confined in Hastings Park for expulsion to internment sites in the BC interior. So it was like a holding place. So one can imagine the living conditions were not good in here, and it's built for livestock, and that's how they were being treated, to say the very least. Maybe next year for VEDS I should delve a little deeper into that very difficult topic. I do not feel properly equipped to talk about that at this moment, just because I need to do a lot more research. I need to be as respectful as possible, but this is a facility of great joy every summer, and a facility that holds pretty horrific secrets in its past. Portions of it, like the livestock barns I'm currently walking through, are a really horrible memory for a lot of people. I've never been able to walk through these barns particularly quite the same way ever since I learned all of that. Let us take a moment to cool down with some adorable rabbits. Look how cute. Ooh, big boy. Maple Ridge represent. I would die for Burberry. Oh my, hello. You are moving. I forgot about you. They also have dinosaurs. They were part of a larger exhibit a few years ago, I think, and I guess they've kept a few of them. Oh, it's a whole thing. Welcome to Pangea. Am I in a parade? Is there a parade coming? Interesting. Another thing I can be a geek about is historic hockey arenas. And the PNE has no less than 5 of them, 4 hockey rinks, and a roller rink by my count, all of which built well over 50 years ago. The biggest of which is the Leviathan behind me, the giant Pacific Coliseum. I almost forgot I'm not allowed to go inside the Pacific Coliseum to get some little shots. This is actually the very first year that you've not been able to just freely wander about inside the Pacific Coliseum during the course of the fair. The evening concert series that they do here has featured events that are taking place right here in the arena. It used to be out in the amphitheater down the way. This brings me to one of my mild grievances about the PNE in the last couple of years, is the handling of the concerts. Now, they've always had some fairly big name groups and performers come through town. When they first started doing it, they were out in the other section there on the outdoor amphitheater stage, which has been moved around a little bit over the years. And it was totally free. You could just walk in at any point. The only caveat was that you had to physically get there and hold your spot because the place would fill up. But over time, they moved it over to the amphitheater and they added some reserved sections that you could pay for. And before too long, you had to buy a ticket to get into any PNE concert. They used to take place right here behind this green scrim. And if you look behind here, you can actually get a glimpse at what they're all doing back there. Wow, they've basically completely demolished the old structure. There's going to be some sort of performance space here, but the amphitheater that was here, if I recall correctly, dates all the way back to the 60s, so they've completely gotten rid of that. Doesn't look like there's any of the old seating remaining. This is the first year that they've held the concerts in the major arena space, but the ticket prices are pretty much up to like regular concert fare. It's $75 approximately to get a decent seat into one of the shows. That being said, I was hoping to be able to come here on a night where there was a show I wanted to see. There have been so many great acts coming through here. I would have loved to have seen Burton Cummings or BTO, or Daryl Hall had to cut his show short, unfortunately. He wasn't feeling well. John Fogerty, I'm told, did an amazing set. Even just last night, the Commodores with the Pointer Sisters. Tonight's big show is Flo Rida. I'm sure he'll do great. I'm sure he'll put on a great show, but respectfully, I will pass. Right across from the Pacific Coliseum is the somewhat smaller Agrodome building, which is 5 years older than the Coliseum. I just love the Agrodome space. Oh, I don't know what it is. I've always loved the architecture and the way this place is built. This year, it is the home of the Superdogs. The Superdogs every year used to be in the larger Coliseum, but this year they are in here. Again, there's something about the design and the seating arrangement of this circular Coliseum building that I just really like. There was never really a major sports tenant here at the Agrodome, but in the 1960s, for a few years there before the Coliseum was built, this became the go-to place for rock concerts. It's truly amazing the amount of legendary bands that played here. On their second tour of North America in 1965, the Rolling Stones played right in here in the Agrodome. I believe Bob Dylan played here on his Blonde on Blonde tour in 1966. When The Who toured North America for the first time in 1967, their tour included a stop right here at the Agrodome. And on July 26, 1969, this is perhaps, I would say, the most legendary concert that ever happened here. It was the band The Vanilla Fudge. If you don't know the band Vanilla Fudge, they were an awesome psychedelic rock band out of the late 60s. But it was their opening act that became the most legendary. Opening for them that night was Led Zeppelin on their very first tour. And of course, the rest is history. For the record, this is the arena from Rocky IV. They've done a lot of filming here. Vancouver is, of course, known for being one of those cities where everyone films here. But yeah, this is the arena from Rocky IV. And in the first Deadpool movie, when he's getting run over by a Zamboni, I immediately recognized that they were on the ice surface here at the Agrodome, for what it's worth. I've got to imagine these are some of the original seats. Got to think that if you were trying to find your seat for the Rolling Stones concert in 1965, it still would have looked something like this. And we're not done with the classic arenas, because right in between the Coliseum and the Agrodome is Rollerland. This was not always an arena space. It was open as the Pure Food building all the way back in 1931, so it's been here a while, just over 90 years. The exterior shows it a little bit. During the Second World War, this is another space that held interred Japanese Canadians. And after the war, at some point, I don't know exactly when, it was converted into its most famous use as a roller derby rink, a roller skating / roller derby rink. And I just have to keep talking because the Eagles will block this video if I stop talking and allow their song to play in the background for even 1 second. And then you just gotta walk down the little pathway a little bit further and you get to the Forum, the PNE Forum, which thankfully just a few years ago they put this lettering up, which is a really nice touch. This building is much larger than Rollerland, and it also dates to 1931, which kind of makes sense. You know, I always thought these two buildings on property were in the same sort of art style, and I guess they're built as part of the same little project. This exhibition space is sort of split into two halves. This is the old lobby area of the arena, very wide open. And then on the other side is the 1931 hockey rink itself. Now this is the original home of the Vancouver Canucks, starting in the 1930s, before they were even an NHL team. After the other arenas here on site were built in the 60s, this building really hasn't been used for hockey ever since. Shortly thereafter, all of the ice machines were taken out, and eventually the boards. And now, pretty much the only things that remain of this building's history as a hockey rink are the grandstands around the side. I'm seeing the original capacity for this place being listed as 5,000, but that seems like a lot based on how many grandstands are still here. Maybe there used to be more at one point. The old press box is also still there. Okay, I've shown you lots of historic arena spaces here at the PNE. There is still one left, but I don't know if they're doing anything in the PNE Gardens right now. Obviously, there's something going on up near the front here, some sort of activity, but I know they've put exhibits in here in the past. I remember there being a video game exhibit here last time I went. It opened in 1940, so a little bit newer than the Forum across the way and Rollerland up the street a little bit. I'm scared to try the doors. Yeah, I don't think they're actually using the space for anything this year, but I'll throw in some probably crappy, shaky camera footage from me wandering around this building in 2019. Obviously, my favorite little piece of trivia from this building is that in May of 1974, Kiss played here on their very first tour, opening up for Savoy Brown and the Manfred Band's Earth Band. So there's my personal little favorite concert that happened here. But pretty much all the buildings I've shown you here today have been home to so many great classic concerts through the years that even though they're still used for the fair, I always feel like they have a glory days that are a little bit behind them that I always picture when I'm in any of these old arena facilities. All right, now as we loop back towards the front, we get to this beautiful garden space around the southwest corner of the park. And with that, I'm walking up to basically where the log flume is, where we sort of started our adventure a few hours ago, or a few minutes ago for all you fine people. This is funny, there's like nobody in here. Usually it's a bit of a happening place here, but no, just me and a couple of workers, it would seem like. But if you're ever getting tired of the hustle and bustle over at the PNE, this is a nice space to just sort of wander around. But yes, I'm quickly finding myself back towards the front of the park. I've really had a lot of fun exploring the PNE with all of y'all fellow VEDSies and anyone who might be watching this video. If you're wondering what I mean when I say fellow VEDSies, there are, I'm gonna assume, 7 of us. The month hasn't technically started as of the time I'm filming this, but I believe there will be 7 of us doing video every day in September this month. I am making a video every day. I started a couple of days ago, and I'm running through to September 30th. There'll be a video on this channel every single day. And in my description, I'm going to include links to the channels for all of the other wonderful fellow VEDSies doing a video every day this month. If you want to join us, it's only day 3. You can start partway through the month, and we'll be thrilled to have you. Like I said, this was the first one I got a chance to actually film this year. But if my upload schedule has gone correctly, this will be episode 3. Thanks for watching this video. I've had a lot of fun showing you guys the sights all around the PNE here. And I will catch you with another new video again tomorrow and every day for the rest of this month. If you have any suggestions for things you want to cover, let me know, and I will see y'all again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.